Hi guys, it's MJ, the student actuary, and I'm going to be making a video on Pokemon. And the video is going to be on advanced strategies. So Pokemon Go, it's this new app, everybody's playing it, and a lot of videos have come out on giving beginners tips and all that type of stuff. I'm going to assume that you're level 5 or above and that you understand, the basics of this game. So we can delve into the more strategic and, game elements, because it's not that much of a child's game. There actually is a lot of strategy and tactics that you can employ in this game. So before we get into them, I just want to introduce defense and attack of your Pokemon. So your Pokemon has a type. So in this case, we have a Scyther, who is both a bug and a flying type, and it has an attack, which is Steel. The Steel Wing is another type. So your Pokemon could, in a sense, have 4 different types. Now, why are types important? Because certain types have different advantages and disadvantages against other types. For example, look at this game matrix. It is quite intense, but what we have here is all the various types, and the green represents that it's got an advantage, and red means it's got a disadvantage against those other types. Now, I have looked at it from a game theory point of view, trying to see if there is a dominant strategy. Is there any criteria that you can try use to simplify this? The maths gets quite messy. Even I was looking, grass seems to be quite weak, fire and ground seem to be quite strong, but that is not incorporating the probability and the likelihood of coming across these various Pokemon. So as far as trying to gamify or build a strategy around this game matrix, that is quite difficult. Instead, my advanced strategy, I'm going to recommend that you focus on 2 things. Okay, and the first thing is your XP. So XP allows you to level up. The more XP you have, the higher your level is, and the higher your level is, the more Pokemon and the different varieties that you're going to see. And that's the point of the game. You've got to catch them all. So the higher your level, the more likelihood you're going to see Pikachu and Eevee and the rare Pokemon. So you want to build up your XP. The second thing you want to build up is something known as Stardust, which is quite new to me. I was like, whoa, what is the Stardust? But Stardust, along with Candy, can build up your Pokemon and make them stronger. And having strong Pokemon is very essential when it comes to taking over the gyms. Okay, gyms are these things that pop up on the map, and they're very important. Okay, when you see a gym, gyms are important opportunities, because not only by fighting them do you gain XP and all that type of stuff, but also if you hold a gym for 20 hours, you're going to get rewards. And the rewards you get are Stardust and Pokemon Gold. Pokemon Gold you can use at the shop to buy various items, and the Stardust you can use to make your Pokemon stronger and take over even more gyms, which will allow you to get even more Stardust every day. So how do we take over gyms and how do we defend gyms? Because that's the whole thing, is attacking gyms and defending gyms. And the best way to do that is to team up. Okay, this Pokemon game, just like Ingress, which it's kind of based on, it very much is a social game, and you're going to be way more effective when you're in a team. Okay, you need to team up, and then together you guys can go to gyms and take them down way quicker. Let's say you come across a gym. First thing you want to do is see, okay, this is a Pinsir, he is a bug Pokemon. Memorize this matrix, or have a copy with you at all times. Pinsir is a bug Pokemon, so you'll see that fire. What else hurts him? Fire, flying, and rock. Yeah, those 3 are going to be very effective against Pinsir. And by using this game matrix on the gyms, it's going to be very easy to defeat them. You're going to feel like a Roman. We came, we saw, we conquered, we took over all the gyms. Okay, but that's the easy part. The easy part is taking over the gym. The hard part is defending a gym. How do you defend a gym? Well, first of all, I'm going to show you how not to defend. Okay, this is the worst thing you can do in Pokemon, is to go and put a Magikarp with a combat power of 10 in a gym. Okay, this is terrible, and it's terrible for 2 reasons. One, it's gonna upset your team, because anybody else who's gonna want to come and train at this gym and try to boost its prestige is gonna take forever, because every time they beat this Magikarp, because the combat power is so low, it's only gonna give a fraction of prestige, which means it's going to take hours and hours to level up this gym. Also, I mean, you can see there I was only level 8, so I didn't know what I was doing. But I was like, yeah, I've got my first gym, I've got my Magikarp. But I mean, if another Pokemon comes, I mean, one hit and the Magikarp dies, which means it's going to be very, very easy for the other teams to take over a gym that is defended by a Magikarp. So don't defend it with a Magikarp. Okay, now that we know what not to do, I'm going to talk to you guys about what you should do. I would recommend putting in Pokemon that only have one type. So let's say that Scyther, it was both bug and flying. I would recommend against using Scyther as a defending Pokemon. Rather put a Pokemon that just has one defense. This is going to make it less vulnerable to various attacks. I'd also then recommend that it has a 2-type attack so that it will be more effective from various other Pokemon. You know, if it's got both water and psychic, say like Slowbro, then you know it's going to have advantage against say fire Pokemon and other Pokemon such as a poison one, which has got its weakness to the psychic power. Okay, so that's what we want: 1-type defense, 2-type attack. And what you want to do is get in your team and the order that you place the Pokemon. So like I said, I'm assuming you're level 5 and above, you understand how the gyms work. Once the gym prestige hits another level, you can then place another Pokemon. And in order to upgrade the prestige, you need to battle the Pokemon, and you only get, for me, I don't know if this is a bug on my side, but I only get one Pokemon and I have to take on all the other Pokemon in that gym, which makes it a little bit difficult. So what I would recommend is the first strategy, if you're just starting off and you're with your team, is let the weakest player put in their Pokemon first. Okay, this is going to make it much easier for the other players to beat that Pokemon and build the prestige. They're going to be building it slowly, but they're going to be able to be building it, and then they're going to put in the second strongest Pokemon. And this will allow the strongest Pokemon, the number 1, to come in and have a good chance of beating both of these Pokemon at the same time, which will increase the prestige quite quickly. So then you put in the strongest Pokemon. However, this is an advanced video, and I'm going to show you how you can increase the prestige even more efficiently and even quicker. And that comes to strategy 2. And what you do here is you put in the strongest Pokemon first, okay? But now we need to play that type matrix that we've been looking at. So for this example, put in the strongest Pokemon and make him fire. Then put in the weakest Pokemon and make him ground. Okay, ground has an advantage over fire, and because he's got a smaller combat power to the fire Pokemon, it's going to improve this prestige very, very quickly. And then for the for the final Pokemon, you then put in a water one, which has an advantage on both fire and ground. And this is going to let you build up your gym's prestige very quickly and allow you to put in 3 strong Pokemon without having to go through the whole revivals and potions and doing it, you know, numerous amount of times. Because remember, Pokemon, like Ingress, which the game is based on, it kind of all comes down to managing your resources. You want to manage the amount of Pokemon you have. You want to manage, you know, the amount of potions you use, the amount of revivals you consume, all this type of stuff. And for this reason, I would highly recommend against trying to set up and defend a gym in the waterfront or some hot tourist attraction place. As you can see, we've got a gym. There's a whole bunch of Pokestops around. People are putting lures out. It's a very festive area. There's a lot of tourists coming over here, which means when you have this gym, I don't think you're even going to last 1 hour before another team is going to come and take it down. Because there's a lot of people in this area, you're going to lose that gym very quickly. I recommend getting your team and going to some weird distant location. You should be safe because it's a group of you guys, you know, safety first. And because you're in a group, set up a gym or build up a gym that's in quite a remote location where there's not a lot of traffic, and it makes it quite hard for the other teams. You know, they really have to go out of their way to try to take down that gym, and you've built it up quite nicely. So it is going to be a bit of a hazard for them. And that way, you're going to keep the gym for the full day. You're going to get the benefits, which you can then use to build up more Pokemon to take over even more gyms. So wow, I've spoken quite quickly, but in a nutshell, I've spoken about gaining XP and saving Stardust are the two things you want to focus on. Then I highly recommend teaming up in order to attack gyms in such a way you can manage your resources. And then finally, I spoke about the best ways on how to hold gyms so that you can get even more resources so that you can repeat the entire process again. And there we have it. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I'm wishing you guys all the best with Pokemon Go. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have really great memories with it. I'll see you guys next time for my other videos. Cheers.